लोकोऽयं कर्म बंधन तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संगः समाचर सहयज्ञः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापति अनेन प्रसविष्यद्धं मेष भूस्तिष्ठ कामधु देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वा परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यतः इष्टान् भोगन् हि वो देवा दर्शन्ते यज्ञभावितः तैर्दत्ता न प्रदाययित्वो जो भुङ्क्ते तेनैव सः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तु मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारण अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्न संभव यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षर समुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम् एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयतीह च अघायुरिन्द्रियाराम मोहं पार्थ सजीवति यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थो नाकृतेनेह कश्चन नो चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रय तस्मादसक्तं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तोच्छाचरं कर्म परमाप्नोति पुरुषः कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धि मास्सिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि संपश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि यच्चदाचरति श्रेष्ठ सत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तद् अनुवर्तते न मे पट्टास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानावाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि यदीच्छं न वर्तेयं यातु कर्मान्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्तानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वथा उत्सितेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ताश्चामुपहन्यामि मां प्रजाः सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसु यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षु लोकसंग्रहम् न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानं कर्मसंगिनां योजयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् प्रकृतिः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वथा अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयो गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतिर्गुणसङ्गमूढः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृष्णविदो मन्दान् कृष्णविद् न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि संगनस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युद्धस्य विगतज्वरः ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः यत्ते तत्तत्प्रसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञान विमूढ़ां स्थान विद्धि नस्तान अचेतस सदृशं चेष्टते सस्या प्रकृति ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृति जन्ति भूतानि निग्रह किं करिष्यति इंद्रिय सेन्द्रिय साथे रागद्वेषौ अवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ धस्य परिपन्थिनौ श्रेयान् सधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् सनुष्ठितात् सधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः श्रेयच्छुनुभाग अधकेन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पुरुषः अनिच्छन्न विपार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः.
Okay, that's where we are. Welcome. You are Jayashri, right?
That's
okay, wonderful to see you again.
Thank you. What a good memory.
Well, that name is very dear. Jayashri, very dear to us.
She, Vishakha Devi has a blog, or like how do you say blog? Yeah, a blog.
Sure.
And it's called Jayasri, and she puts every week, sometimes more often a week, she puts wonderful. Sometimes she interviews devotees from our gurus, beautiful text and
I've been following you on the videos virtually because my friend Maya told me that you also post this.
Right,
it's lovely to be able to watch it when you can't make it here. And then I sent the link to my dad because he's a Krishna devotee.
I remember you told me, he does cow seva, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh,
She's got an amazing memory.
That's amazing. I think I must have met her 6 months ago.
No, not that long. Maybe 3 months.
Yes,
She has a very
get
good
memory
memory.
like yours.
Do you drink that water from the filtered water? Do you drink?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Didi. And the girls aren't here tonight. So.
The 2 older ones, not
Okay.
but yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
They were going to come, and then I don't know what happened last minute. They suddenly said no, didn't they?
Yeah,
And Jay was saying, "But come on, come on."
I was kind of threatening to sing to them, which is my singing voice is not so good. That didn't work. But I mean, they'll come next time. I'm sure. The energy has to be there for them to come. They said they'll come Saturday.
Yeah, they normally come.
I feel like I need to connect with them more. The 2 older ones, and I haven't spent much time with your eldest one because she was busy with her GCSEs. Yeah. So, but yeah, next time.
I was saying, I think Naya was asking, and I think maybe you did do it, but we didn't attend because we were maybe in India. She wanted to know if Ramananda Prabhu was going to do something just for the teenagers.
Yeah, we can definitely arrange that.
I
Yeah.
think that would connect with them.
Yeah.
Maybe they have the questions that we can't answer.
Yes.
So, like, why do we do this way? Why not this way? Or what's the reason for this?
Yeah. Yeah, we can definitely. We could do it this Saturday if you'll be here this Saturday. Janmashtami is Monday, so it might be a bit much coming both days.
Because I think there are some things on Saturday as well, isn't there?
Are you doing a function for Janmashtami?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not doing the midnight thing here. We're going to do a midnight program at our temple in East London. But here will be, our main program will be 5 to 8. Yeah. Also partly because of the neighbors here. Too much loud kirtan at midnight won't be so welcome.
And this is beautiful. I don't remember this last time.
No, this was because we had a festival on Saturday. It's the anniversary.
Oh, I see.
It was really lovely.
Beautiful.
The girls were talking about Raga and how beautiful he looked with Krishna.
Oh, Raghunath, right, as Lord Chaitanya.
Yes.
Yes,
And they were just saying.
he was wonderful.
Yeah, and he just looked so beautiful. He had that glow, that radiance. It was amazing. He's 6. He was 6 years old.
Yeah, he's 6.
He had to recite someone. He was amazing. Amazing.
Is it on the-
All of them were, but
Have they webcast it? Or?
Yeah, it's recorded. Yeah, it's linked on our Bhakti Yoga Institute Facebook page, and it's also on our YouTube channel. You can find it, yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, he did it. And there's some beautiful photos there as well. Did a very good job. Okay, so we'll continue. We're coming to the end of chapter 3, Karma Yoga. Okay, I'm going to do a test. A simple test. What is the main principle of Karma Yoga?
First of all, I think in the karma you do, you will have a result of it.
I'm sorry. Hello, welcome. Sorry, what did you say?
The karma, whatever the karma you do, you will definitely get the result from it. And you should do karma according to like whatever karma you do, you should think about God, and you shouldn't hurt somebody's feelings, and shouldn't do bad with people.
Last time when we were discussing, when we read about that, and it's better to do what is meant to be for your karma, better to do your work, rather than do someone else's to a high standard. It's better to do what your karma is, to the way that you're meant to be doing it, and with full devotion, because we've all got different reasons to be here, and rather than trying to do somebody else's role, it's better to fulfill your role. And I think we read about you can't necessarily like preach to someone who's not open to it, but to almost lead by example, to preach.
Very good. Yeah, very good. Yes. Yeah, that was the last verse that we went through last week. Was that it's better to die doing your own duty, and better to imperfectly do your own duty than to do somebody else's duty, to follow another's path.
Is it like my mom says? She says, "Do or die."
That's good too. Yeah, that's very good. Yes, do or die. Actually,
don't question why this is just a do or die.
Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he appreciated that example in Mahatma Gandhi. He said that Mahatma Gandhi really had that spirit of do or die. Like you want
reason why whether do it or die. Some things like this one is I think Jovan, this is we come karma means you doing karma
Good or bad? It could be bad.
You do good things. You do with a good intention. At the time it looks like a bad thing, but it's going to help for everyone, and also not intention to hurt somebody. Overall it's going to bring the goodness afterwards. So you're doing that karma. So you won't touch, you won't get blamed for that, or you don't get remorse for that one. So you're doing that karma is good karma, that is called. If you do bad karmas, so you have to pay for that one. So I think, I don't know, before that one I'm saying that's a karma is good karma. So you come for some reason, so you got to do according to that good karma. So like I think.
Sounds good to me. But yes, so the main principle of karma yoga is to selflessly do one's duty, to identify what one's duty is, and then to do that without entangling oneself with the results. Because normally we're acting, calculating, how will the result be good for me? And this type of thinking is what's like clouding our consciousness, because our consciousness is always being clouded by self-interest.
I got one, what do you call it, example for that. So as a gardener, you are that is your profession, you living on it. So you're doing good to the garden to look beautiful, you get good flowers or any vegetables. So you got to take off all the weeds time by time. So when you look at that taking off the weeds, it looks like you're doing something harm to one of the plants. So, but your intention is not bad to that plant, but you doing, which is you are expecting, your job is to look after the garden. That means you need to take out the weeds. But when you think about, you can't take out those weeds and you feel bad, you are not going to be good for gardener. But your intention is what you sent for it, that you got to do your job.
Sure, yeah.
So end of the day, you're gonna get good results. But if not only for you, everybody else.
But if you don't get good results, you won't lament.
But obviously you're doing good jobs. Obviously you get good results as a gardener.
Sometimes the result may not be pleasing for us, right?
Yeah,
that's difficult.
That's difficult. That's why where you come from as a gardener, you decide you're doing your job. You got to do your job. Like even Arjuna, when it comes to the battlefield, he says, I can't kill my own family, and there are things all. How can I do? But he preaches to the Arjuna, it's not your doing. This is supposed to be happen. That's like it's not a karma. You're not going to repent. Then what do you call it? You got to do it.
Sure, yeah.
So as a gardener, you have to take out the weed. Then only you get the other flowers go. If you Mahabharata Yuddha, the war didn't happen. Like Arjuna didn't kill others. So the bad will be spread over. You're gonna maybe not any goodness in the world maybe remained.
But I mean, there's so many examples. But one example that's coming to mind is that story of King Solomon, right? There was a baby, and there were two mothers fighting over the baby, right? And then I don't know if it was King Solomon, but somebody said, "Okay, cut the baby in half, and then you can divide." And then the real mother came forward and said, "No, you can take the baby, right?" So she loves that child, so she really has the best interest of that child at heart. And so she's sacrificing her own interest for the sake of the welfare of that child, right? Yeah. So similarly, in order to do the right thing, in order to do our duty, we may have to sacrifice our own interest for that, right? Yes.
Is it like, say if you have to study, like if you go to grammar school, and they say if you want to get into it, you have to cut all games, you shouldn't do it. And it's like you have to sacrifice your liking of games to do your studying.
Sounds good to me.
You ask very interesting questions. Sounds like Mom's been saying something.
Well, we have Sripad Tyagi Maharaj with us.
So I'm just giving like an example, like you like everybody likes children like games, but maybe it is your world, but you have to put aside that world.
Yeah, no, I think your example is good, but it only works if you're doing it out of a sense of duty. If you're thinking, I'm going to sacrifice my games, so I go to this good grammar school, and then I'm going to get out of this good grammar school and go to a really good university, and then I'm going to get a really good job, and then I'm going to become rich and famous, then that doesn't count. But if you think, my mom wants me to do well at school, and it's my duty to do well at school, and it's my duty to get a good education and to be a good citizen, then I'm going to sacrifice, then that counts, then that's okay.
Yeah, that's what we wanted, mother wanted, isn't it? Your mom wants what you want. Good citizen end of the day, isn't it?
So is it basically, if you have your balance of your karma, that say it's carried on from your previous lifetime, if you believe in the reincarnation, so is your karma linked with pure intentions? If you want to reduce your karmic balance, you are doing something selflessly, you're reducing your karmic balance.
Well, what will happen is we'll stop creating future karma for ourselves. Whether or not our previous karma, our existing karma is going to be removed, that's up to the Lord. He has that type of power. If He likes, He can do that. But in general, we will say we have to like play out our previous karma. But we can stop creating future karma by changing our responses, because generally what happens is we're like we like enter this vicious cycle, right? We have some previous pattern that's creating future results. Those future results are coming. We're responding in a particular way. Then we're like entangling ourselves more and more and more. But like, you know, we can wake up and say, today I'm going to change my outlook. Today I'm going to respond differently. And then there will be some period we'll have to like ride out our previous, you know, karma, but then there will be like an open field before us. So it's very difficult, you know. It's very difficult. But really it's the truth, you know, we are the architects of our own futures.
But the thing is, one thing we say, like, you know, already we are with the bad karmas from the previous lives. We are already we are in sin, like we are paying that. It's like we are very cruel to people or something like that. So they will be born like that, so they're gonna do that one. How can you get the good, like good intention, or what is the where you get that transformation? Like, you know, I have to do good karma, even though that is sin life. Or I don't know exactly saying, like, no, when you're born in you paying the bad karmas.
Maharaj, you want to answer?
I didn't quite grasp it.
No, actually, like you know, I born in. I'm paying for my karma. I've done lot of sins last few lives. So I born in means I won't be in good thing. Living. I'm paying. This life I'm being a bad, maybe killing people or like, you know, doing bad to people. But how I realize, or where is I can get that thought of doing good karma, so where is going to stop? In that, if these people are good, they realize, for them okay. The people are already, they are here to pay for their karmas. How they realize?
Well, one way you can answer that is that it's seldom that you find a person that's 100% bad. You know, in the words of our Param Gurudev, even thieves have a code of ethics. Maybe they're thieves, but amongst themselves they have some honor, they have some respect, they have some rules. So we won't say that anyone, we'd say it's extremely difficult to reach the point of pure evil, or absolutely no sense of right and wrong. To become temporarily clouded, to become confused, to become influenced by bad association, that is very common. But still, there must be some residual presence also of the previous good association and the previous good action that we had. So it is a mixture. We are going through the consequence of our bad actions. We are also going through the consequence of our good actions. And so we're in this mixed condition where we have some sense of duty, some ability to discern good and bad, and some covering over that, and some bad habit or bad samskar as it is called. And then according to that we are moving. And then, you know, in the course of our life, if we make good choices and we act upon the good aspect, then gradually the good aspect will grow. And if we neglect it, then the bad side can also grow.
I believe association counts for quite a big chunk of how we make our decisions as well. If you have good association, which I was saying to Vishakha Didi when we first met, that's why I feel it's so important for the children to bring them here and for them to have this association, because I think that moulds them quite a lot to have good karma and to have good association, good thoughts and a good life.
Definitely.
But then also, Maharaj, we can say for some souls the solution will be for their free will to be removed, right, for some time. They will to enter some lower species of life, and then they'll, eventually come up to point of zero, and they start afresh. Can you say that? I mean, if someone's misusing their free will so badly, then it has to be removed from them, right? And then eventually they'll get a second chance.
How would you remove? How do you remove?
I mean, by entering a lower species of life, because it's the human birth which is so kind of crucial, pivotal, because you have this gift in your hands
to make the decisions.
Yes, exactly. But if you misuse it, then you'll be put in a position in another, plant life, animal life, where you don't have that type of developed free will. What do you say about that?
Yeah. I mean, generally, activity in the mode of ignorance leads to lower birth, activity in the mode of passion leads to future human birth, and activity in the mode of goodness leads to some chance to reside in the higher lokas. The general scope.
And then another factor that's there is the causeless, unexpected mercy of the saints. And really, that's what we call a gyata sukriti. You're familiar with the word sukriti, right? Sukriti. So agyata means unknowing, right? Agyata sukriti means good, good fortune, good spiritual merit which has been unknowingly acquired. And that will happen by unknowingly rendering some service or doing some good for a saintly person. So
Kruti means something doing. So
is it the same as seva? When you say, we say seva, duty, dutiful. Is seva Hindi? A Hindi word? Seva. So seva and sukriti, is that the same kind of alms, doing something for the name of God?
You could say that, but I'm speaking about agyata. So you could say seva done unknowingly, without your gyata.
But somebody is suffering, or somebody is rather than ignoring, you go and help them without knowing. Means you don't know you are saving his life, but you call the ambulance, or you left some your work, but you do the duty, you don't know you're going to do it, but you did it. So
if it's some saintly person, someone who's advanced in the spiritual side, then that will, you don't know who they are, right? But there's someone who's is in God's hand, one of God's own people, and so by rendering some service to them, even unknowingly, that's bringing some fortune to ourselves. So that is also a possibility.
How do we know what our karma is meant to be, what our job is meant to be? Where we talked last time about doing your own job that you're meant to be doing here, your own seva.
You're using karma in the sense of duty here.
Yeah, in how we read it last time, about it's better to do your karma not so perfectly rather than do somebody else's perfectly. So how do we come to the conclusion of what our karma is in this life?
Well, I mean, as we also discussed last week, there's two perspectives on this. There's the relative perspective and there's the absolute perspective, right? So by absolute, I mean, we're in this, what do you call it? We're in this split situation. We understand we're eternal spiritual souls, but we've acquired a material body, and we have a material existence. So we're in this kind of split situation, and so we have so the absolute duty is to to engage in activity that is food for our soul, which our soul needs, which will help our soul to awaken to its real spiritual prospect. But then we can't ignore the fact that we have a material body and we have some material obligations. And so we have to do, we have a body, we have to clothe it, we have to feed it. So we have to do we have some duty to take care of that as well. And what are the particulars for, that will vary in terms of the relative duty, that will vary person to person, but in general we can say, if you're a mother, take care of your children, some job you have to take up to make money, to take care of your family, like that, Also, sometimes we may see within ourselves we have some very strong attachment for some particular occupation or some particular, whatever it may be. And we may recognize this isn't really anything to do with my eternal self, my soul, but at the same time, I can't give it up. So I'm doing something which is allowing me to express myself in that field, that will vary person to person. Maharaj, you want to add something?
Well, this subject is typically what is called varnashram dharma in the classic sense. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he liked to describe that as sympathetic dealings with nature. In other words, to what acquired nature we have, what samskar we carry, to try to make the best use of that for our spiritual benefit. So, our spiritual benefit means engaging in things in connection with Krishna, and more broadly in the context of a discussion of Gita, engaging in actions selflessly rather than with a selfish interest. So, if someone can take up that spirit of selfless action and do so within a role in society that suits the particular nature that they have, that's ideal. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explained that classically what would happen, like the quote-unquote original proper way, was that a young boy when he was in his early teens would be observed by all the elders of his village and his parents, and then they would have a meeting, and the family guru, the local village elders, the parents, the other acquaintances of the family would all assemble, and they would make an assessment of the character of the boy and assess what sort of propensity he had. And typically, he said that whatever the occupation or the varna of his father was, they would mainly look to see, is the boy also suited to that or not? Right? And then accordingly they would evaluate him, and then they would say, yes, he is well suited to this, to continue in that way, and he would follow in the example of his father. But in some cases that would not be the case, and they would recommend something else. And he said that this is the ideal thing, that according to the particular characters that we have some engagement that suits us and in which we can excel at and make a meaningful contribution to our society, and within which we can cultivate the deeper teaching of this subject, selfless action and ultimately devotion. So gradually, you could say the travesty of varnashram is that the varna was no longer determined by one's natural characteristics, or what's described earlier or later the next chapter of Gita as one's guna and karma. Right? Chaturvana maya shristam guna karma vibhagasha. The divisions are according to what sort of action and qualities we have a propensity for. But it became determined only by heredity. And therefore the son of a great doctor must be a great doctor, and the son of a great teacher, he must also be a great teacher. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that this is the one way he described it is like the cause of the downfall of India. Like that when this sort of switch between like the substance of something, what is actually appropriate, and what is wanted to be that way but may not actually be, when those two things are confounded, then gradually the whole society erodes. So that's what we've heard of, like the classic way. Now we don't have that in our present day per se, but if we look at present society, we can say in a place like the UK, then people have a lot of career options. Yeah. People have bigger opportunities even to be engaged in something that suits them. Even the big question for young kids is, what do I want to do? They have every opportunity. I mean, if you take I don't want to say normal, but like a person growing up in society who goes to university and can choose their major and so on and so forth. So in that regard, we can say that in our present society, there's quite a lot of scope for finding an occupation that suits your characteristic. It's pretty much wide open. You know, I mean, there are some barriers due to economic standing and access to education, but compared to older society, it's quite easy. It's quite a.
Especially if they think about the personality comes like now the person they what do you call this, dignity of labor. Another word everybody uses, isn't it? Whatever you do, people respect. Mm-hmm. When you say kids, they play, they play with the dustbin, people like I want to be the dustbin man. Lots of kids like when they see like they help their community and they want. I had so many kids like they say, I want to become dustbin man. But even if you are in India, how can you be like dusty this and that? But maybe one on the other side of it, like, why not? Why can't they? You know, it's like somebody got to do it. Why can't my child? Maybe. They say, like, you don't get things and that kind of, there's a big suspension.
Yeah, maybe you could summarize that and say, I think in Indian culture, parents have a strong idea of investing in their children. Mm-hmm. They see their own future represented in the success of their child. Whereas in Western society, I think there's a more common notion of wanting one's child to be a meaningful contributor to society in a broader level, not as much the immediate family. So that may have some basis for why that difference is there. But
those circumstances may be different, but like this Indian mentality, like what they call it, is just too much. That it's only that level. Like looking for only the only limited time period. But here in UK, when you think about liberally giving the freedom to the child to choose their career, and
I would interpret it slightly differently. I see it as maybe not to be all Asian or Indians, but majority of, say, that mentality is not a case of they're limited, but more that as a parent myself, I want my children to have it easier, smoother, and more choice maybe, and less struggles. So investment in that way, rather than saying that it's more about what I want. I always say to them, you choose what makes you happy, what you like, but I'll encourage that and invest in it. But it's not to say that my English neighbour or Western neighbour, that they care more about their child, what they want in terms of their happiness or their choice. It's, I think, more a case of, as Asian parents, we save and we sacrifice more for our children. Perhaps my neighbour, they would make their child more independent in some ways. Maybe they wouldn't invest as much savings into their child themselves, financially or time-wise or anything else, but they would more put the child, say when they're 16, right, you need to move out, you need to stand on your own feet. Whereas I think as Asian parents, we keep our children with us and almost mollycoddle them to an extent, but it's because we want them to have that foundation of education as well as spiritually, as well as academically, for knowledge. I'd say more that way rather than they would want their child to be more happy. I don't think it's necessarily that way.
All right.
In this sense, I think both of them should be more balanced between both. We can't say this is right, that is right. But mainly child interest, and we support. We, as a parent, like we support children as well. But you know how there is still child stands as well. Need to look according to his goodwill. Somehow we need to do like no. You need to push him out to maybe he can learn. Maybe some child they need more support when he is in good studies, so he can't help, isn't it? So better not to send him to work. So but you explain him enough, so you doing enough work for him, so he realizes you helping him, so he has put in his hard work in the studies. So further he is not only parents, he's whatever they're like, you know, he studies for, he's going to help for the society, not only the parents.
Vishakha Didi, he was going to tell the principle of karma.
Well, the essential principle of karma is simply to selflessly perform our duty, you know, whatever that may be. And it's a very wonderful and simple process, because you don't have to know very much. You don't have to know about philosophy, but simply whatever you can identify to be your duty, you know, that will make a positive contribution to society. Just to do that, and not entangle your mind with the results. Not to think, what are the results? Whatever, I'm a mother, I'm going to be a good mother. Right? If your mother's a good mother, even if you become a bad son, she will still be a good mother to you. So, you know, I'm a teacher, and I have these like 13-year-old boys in front of me. I have to be a good teacher. Even if they're not good students, I'm going to be a good teacher. I'm going to do my best to teach them well. And whether they're, you know, it's not like if this student, you know, was rude to me, so when I mark their paper, I'm going to give them a lower mark because they were rude to me. You know, no. If they, you know, my duty is to check how they did on this exam. I'm going to do this in a disinterested way, devoid of my personal interest. So this is the essence of karma yoga, and we're told just by that, without knowing like so much higher philosophy or so on and so forth, just by doing that, one's consciousness will naturally begin to clear, and one will begin to experience the spiritual nature within themselves. I mean, this is like an experiment we can all start, you know. I mean, it's not easy. When you talk about it, it sounds easy. But when you go home...
Like when you help friends, but when they forget about that, what do you help for? How can they learn? They have to remember.
We see life like through this like tunnel vision, like how it affects me, you know.
So it shouldn't be affect you. Whatever the other person received, or like, you know, is gonna acknowledge your help or not. But it shouldn't be. When you are doing karma, you should be doing good heart, like, you know, whether he's recognizing or he's going to come and help me or not.
Yes.
I'm doing this. Whether you should realize that one day he's going to come and say, oh, because of you, I've become bad or something. Maybe he get turned into, he will say, but I think he shouldn't feel bad because, oh, I didn't help him. I helped him a lot, but he should be calm down. I said, like, Lord Krishna, I did what I can do. The stuff is yours. That is
perfect.
Way it's good karma. Because you are intention, you're not doing for help. He's going to help me. Because when you think something is going to in future is going to turn out good for me, it is never going to work out.
Yes.
That way. But that is not a good karma. But end of the day, you're going to suffer.
Okay, well, we haven't been through a single verse yet, so it's almost 8 o'clock. Okay, so let's so we'll chant verse number 36 all together. Can you see on this side? Or you can see? Okay. Okay, so let's all chant together. Number 36. Arjuna Uvacha. Okay, all together, everybody. Atake na prayukto yam papam charati purusha anichan api varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Very sweet. Okay, so should we start with Radharani? Want to read the translation?
Arjuna inquired, O descendant of the business, by what is a living being compelled to commit sinful activities even unwillingly as if by force?
It's a good question. Okay, now we're going to hear our Gurudev chanting 37.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamaisa Kruthaisa Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahasano Mahapapana Vidhenami Havairanam.
Okay, so we'll chant that together. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Isha Krodha Isha. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Kama Isha Krodha Isha Rajaguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyanam Iha Vairinam. Oh, I'm sorry.
The Supreme Lord replied, "It is the desire to enjoy the mundane that induces a person to commit sin, and in different situations it produces anger. It is utterly insatiable, extremely malicious, and the worst enemy of the living being in this world."
So, calm, this lust, desire to enjoy, like a spanner in the works. Okay. So, go to 38.
Dhumena vriyate vanhirjathadarso malena cha Jathulena vritu garvasthathini dhamavritam.
Okay. Are we there? Yeah. Dhumena vriyate vanhirjathadarso malena cha Jathulena vritu garvasthathini dhamavritam. As fire is thinly veiled by smoke, as a mirror is thickly covered with dust, and as the embryo remains completely enclosed within the womb, similarly this desire covers the consciousness of the living being in these 3 degrees of intensity, according to the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, respectively. Harsh, will you give some commentary?
The question, why do we sin? And the answer, various degrees of intensity. So this is our enemy, not any person, not any country, not any thing of the world. The only enemy that we have is this, Kama. And from Kama comes anger and greed and the other enemies that we face. So all of our suffering in life is a product of this. And as we were last night, we were discussing a song of Sharanagati, and there he makes the point that there he's talking about some ego in general, but we can equate it with this and saying that the difficulty of the conditioned soul is that the thing that is the cause of their trouble, they cherish as their prized possession. So similarly here, Kama is being described as our greatest enemy, but yet people have a tendency to cherish this as their very identity and as the most valuable thing that they have. And they prioritize everything according to that. How I may satisfy my desires, that is all in life. And that lifestyle actually perpetuates our suffering, and yet as we go through that, we're celebrating that and considering that to be a life well lived. So this is the theme of materialistic society and the ongoing conditioning of the soul within samsara. So this point in the Gita is very clear. Again, it's not complicated or hard to understand. It's told very directly that the cause of our suffering, the cause of our problems is this. So if we want to extricate ourselves from our present difficulties, then we have to confront this. And there's no two ways about it. So it is a very strong stance, you could say a very bold stance, which is, especially in today's culture, is quite apart from the norms and the heroes and themes that are narratives that are promoted within our societies. So we get a great indication about life and how it is well lived here in the Bhagavad Gita. So we can cherish that, and we can aspire in the companies of others who do so to live that out and try to come away from this very strong and difficult influence. And as this chapter is about karma yoga, then we can say that the whole premise of karma yoga is itself the process of how to combat this enemy. So, what is prescribed in life already so far? Selfless action, which more specifically is called nishkam karma yoga. So nishkam means karma that is free from kama, or karma that is not motivated by kama. So it is a flat thing. There is said to be, what is called kamya karma, or sakam karma, karma that is motivated by kama, and nishkam karma, karma that is not motivated by kama. So that is the fundamental prescription for all higher spiritual attainment and even all worldly peace and prosperity. So if we can hear this, if we can remind ourselves of it regularly, and we can modestly try to practice it in our life, then that will be of the highest benefit for us, the foundation of all good fortune.
Can you explain this analogy as well?
Well, the kama is varying degrees of intensity. So those come in the forms of the three modes of nature, sattva, raja and tama. So then some illustration of those is given here. Smoke, dust, and the womb. So the smoke means a fine covering in which the thing is still visible. So that is sattva gun, a light covering. Jai, Shishi Guru Gauranga, Shraddha Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. The dust on the mirror means that the covering is not so thick, but yet thick enough to obscure things. So that is Rajagun. And as an embryo is in a womb means entirely covered over and undetectable. So that is Tamagun. So the consciousness or our good sense is clouded or affected by Kama to varying degrees of intensity. So when the effect is light, then it takes the form of even, you could say, nice activities or kind activities, but that are still based on the premise of perpetuating our existence within the material world and our life apart from our eternal relationship with Krishna. So even if they're benign, still it is a tinge. And then
so would you say, like, for example, charity work, which is benefiting persons in terms of their mundane existence, and is also benefiting ourselves in a mundane way?
Yes, that's a great example. The Gita discusses at length sacrifice, charity, and austerity as three things, and in those things being in different modes. So those things are done in the mode of goodness, then although those things enjoy great honor in our society or are praised as being good, here we should remember that they are still tinged by Kama. They are still actually perpetuating our material existence. And Kama, is a contaminant, is something that is inhibiting our eternal relationship with Krishna to develop and inhibiting the natural capacity of the Atma to love and to serve. Kama itself is a perversion or a distortion of the natural capacity of the soul to serve. So as much as we experience attraction for the partaking of things in this world, so much so those who are pure and liberated experience such constant, intense desire to love and to serve Krishna. So how wonderful that love be? Then one way we can get some idea by experiencing how strong Kama can be in this world. The sattvic, sometimes there is some lack of distinction made between sattvic activity, which is good, but is yet actually pure and spiritual. So Vishakha Didi is highlighting that point to make a distinction between what is of benefit to society and what is of value within the world, and what is relevant to our eternal relationship with Krishna and our eternal journey as a soul. So we can only become really free from Kama when even its sattvic form, in the form of good behavior in the world, is also let go of, and we engage exclusively in the eternal service of Krishna. And then continuing the analogy, to be completely covered over means we start to act in a way that is unrecognizable to our nature. Our nature is to serve, but now we've become, one who's only engaged in violence and harming other persons. This is what Kama produces in its very heavy and intense form, or its tamasic form. So we transform from a servant to something that doesn't resemble a servant at all, and in fact is doing the opposite. So totally obscured.
Does anyone have any last comment or question or anything? I think we're running out of time. You two have been so good. You're not brother and sister, right?
No, we're just friends.
You're just friends. Are you one of our neighbors? Okay, I think I saw you playing. I think I saw you playing at that time. Okay. Well, we're very happy to be here with you this evening.
working to Maharaj with us. We usually finish with some Maha Mantra. You want to
Sure. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Listeri. Jai Saparikar Shishi Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charja Maharaj Ki Jai. Chaitanya Saraswata Charja Vrinda Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Guru Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Sachirananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Saparsa Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Anantakuti Vaishnava Brinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Vishakha Didi ki jai, all the assembled devotees and friends ki jai, Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Gaura Premanande Haribo.
Tyagi Maharaj ki jai.
Take some Vishakha.